Highlights for breakfast. That's what we do here on Good Morning Football. We are presented by Intuit QuickBooks. We're live in New York City. Come on in, hang with us for the next couple of hours. We'll show you everything that went down Week 11 on Sunday. We'll get you set for Monday night's action between the Chiefs and the Chargers. It's all right here with Kay, Nate, Peter, and Kyle with the highlight.
And Mitch and Jared. They played last night at the LA Coliseum. It was Bears, it was Rams. If you didn't see this one, this is what you missed. Talked in the offseason that maybe the most pivotal player in the entire league is that man, Mitch Trubisky. He's going to make or break a lot of storylines. And here we are in November, and it's not pretty. Down 3-0 already after a couple of missed field goals intercepted off the hands of Anthony Miller. That's Troy Hill. The Rams defense was really good last night. Eric Weddle was kind of pounding his chest afterwards. They deserved it. But what was the quality of the opponents? Todd Gurley, big night, 25 carries for him. If they've been saving him, if they've been doing hashtag pitch count, load management, as the NBA likes to talk about, it was over last night. Now 10-0. Trubisky's going to scramble, looking, trying to make a play. We haven't seen a ton of mobility from him this year. Goes down, takes kind of an awkward hit from Michael Brockers, and this is being looked at because this is maybe where his hip started to tighten up, and he wasn't the same after this. Fourth quarter, it's a close game, if not a pretty one. It's 10-7. Anybody's shot. This felt like our proverbial loser leaves town match. And right now, Mitch just doesn't look like he has it. So Nagy's to be on the sideline, BU, the play card, all that. Meanwhile, the Rams are taking care of business. They're doing fine. They got a huge play to Cooper Kupp, and they got a touchdown from Malcolm Brown. But here's where the plot thickens. That is Nagy and Trubisky having a very heartfelt secret or something where it looks like they're going to bench Trubisky because of his hip, not because of his play. So that brings on the Chase Daniel experience, which didn't amount to much. They're down 10 with a couple of minutes to play. It just doesn't make sense that they were going to bring him in to be the savior. They brought him in because Mitch wasn't feeling right. Donald Saxon, because that's what Aaron Donald does. There was hugs, there was losses, and there was a really, really tough night in a season of them for the Bears. 4-6, Rams 6-4, hashtag in the hunt in a very, very stacked NFC West. So why don't we hear from the Brains Trust, one of our guys. We love this guy, head coach Sean McVay and quarterback Jared Goff after the win at home.
Really pleased with our team, to be able to find a way to win as a team. That was the goal. That always is the goal. It was a little bit different than typically we're accustomed to seeing, but a win is a win. We'll take that. I love this group. Love the way they continue to battle. I thought our coaching staff did a great job. Hats off to the Bears. They're a tough physical football team, but we were pleased to come away with a win tonight.
I think tonight was a unique game, and I think we could have been a lot better, especially early on, but I think the way that we just kept responding, we'd go 3 and out, we'd punt it away, get the ball back, maybe again, and eventually it just kept chipping away. And I think that last drive, we got our mojo back and we were rolling, and it felt like how we usually are on offense, and it's a good feeling right now.
Rams find a way to grind it out and get a win. Jared Goff has 10 interceptions, 11 touchdowns on the season. I want to talk a little Bears now with Ian Rappaport, though, because their quarterback, we saw him finish after talking to Matt Nagy on the sideline. He was on the sideline for the rest of the game. Chase Daniel took over. What's going on with him and his hip injury today?
Yeah, that emotional conversation, which no doubt we're going to be seeing clips of over and over today and through the balance of the week, which sounded like, listening to the voices after the game, was Matt Nagy trying to finally getting Mitchell Trubisky to admit that he had a hip injury, that he was not feeling good, that the reason he didn't look like himself, the reason he didn't look as athletic as he usually does, was because Michael Brockers got him near halftime, about 40 seconds to go, kind of popped him in the hip a little bit, and it sounded like, listening to Nagy, that as the game went on, Trubisky got tighter and tighter, but only finally admitted late into the game that he had a hip injury. So what we saw was a little odd. It was Trubisky getting pulled with about 2 minutes to go in the game, basically out of hand, which is something the coach would never do. If you're going to pull a starting quarterback, a franchise quarterback, which they think Mitch Trubisky can be, you're going to do it at halftime with the game in doubt. All of this made sense after the game, and obviously Trubisky's hip will be something we will watch going forward. But during the game, during the moment, there were some very strange things happening at that football field last night.
There are strange things all over the NFL that we're going to get your thoughts and updates on throughout the show, throughout the day, right here on NFL Network. Thanks, Ian. The Rams, though, tough schedule ahead of them. We want to talk about where they are in the playoff picture. They're on the outside looking in. They've dug themselves a bit of a hole. We're getting wowed week in, week out by what the Niners are doing. The Seahawks, the Cardinals have a lot of fight in them. So what do you make of the playoff picture, Schrags, and their shot? I mean, they grinded it out, as Jared Goff said, and Todd Gurley looked pretty awesome.
Look at that playoff picture right there. Those are 6 teams that I feel really confident about on the left and middle columns. And if the Vikings had lost yesterday, it's a bit of an agent of chaos, right? Here comes an AFC team no one expected. Broncos come into Minnesota, shake things up a little bit. If the Lions had beaten the Cowboys, maybe that changes things. All the teams that were supposed to win yesterday won. The Cardinals couldn't upset the Niners. The Saints could not get upset by the Bucs. So I look at that picture right there of the playoffs, and I can't watch the Rams last night, and they won, that's for sure, and say, okay, well, they're about to go on their run right now, and the team that's going to take a step back is that one. No, right now they're the 7th team in a 6-team playoff picture, and I picked the Rams to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl this year, and I'm saying, hey, they got Monday night against the Ravens coming up. Here comes the hottest team in football. Let's talk after that before I can say this team's a playoff team right now, because what they did against the Bears was a victory, and you shouldn't apologize for victories, but that surely wasn't some team that's going on some hot run right now. Not when Jared Goff completes 11 passes in an NFL football game.
Yeah, it's too early in the season to start thinking about the mathematical equations of where we stand and what we have to win. I'm talking about from a player's perspective.
Okay.
We don't sit back in the locker room and say, all right, let's count how many games we got left. Let's count how many games they got left and who will they – no. What you have to do is look at each other and say, let's win out. You have to say that, period.
Run the table.
You have to run the table. You can't sit there and say, all right, we can win a handful of games, and let's just hope that there's a collapse by the wild card teams. No, you can't lean on anybody else making that type of falter. Because here's the point Strager's trying to make. That middle column is strong. Those 2 teams are strong. Those 2 quarterbacks are in the MVP conversation. So if you're the Rams, you have to run the table and then let everything else shake out. Because if you finish the season at 12-4, you have a great chance to
Did you see what Goff is saying? Goff is standing at the podium saying, I feel like we got in our rhythm on that last drive. I looked good. Let's forget about the whole. Let's forget about the playoff picture. Did they look like a playoff team to you at a point yesterday?
Yeah, there are points where I saw Todd Gurley and I said, this is a team that can make the playoffs. I mean, if you run the ball well and you hold a team, I don't care if it's Mitchell Trubisky and the Bears, if you hold a team to under 15 points, yeah, they do look like a playoff team.
See, what I'm thinking, what they're missing is just they don't have the it. Like, if you watch Seattle play, if you watch San Francisco play, they got it going. They have a vibe. They have an it. They have a momentum. Like, I guess the Rams are trying to find their identity on the fly, and it's suddenly going to be defense, but I can't stand up here on the table and be like, hell yes, they played great defense against Trubisky, and they ran the ball a little bit. I know their players are good, and their coach is good. There's just something missing, and it's just more of a pro-Seattle and San Francisco thing. I think those teams are fantastic.
Quickly, how did Gurley look to you?
He looks good. I feel like the line blocked really well. When Gurley's going to be Gurley, it's on the screen passes. It's the 60-yard run. It's the 70-yard run. If I'm really splitting hairs, I think a lot of Todd Gurley's best runs were just right up the middle, the huge holes. I don't think he looked special. He looks good.
I would just ask, do you have any confidence in 8 days that this team can beat the Ravens in a football game? I don't know if I do. The Ravens look like they're unbeatable, and they're going to have a whole bunch of fans in L.A. The team that we saw last night was good, and, Donald was great. But they've got to win every game, as Nate said, and a really good team is coming into their building on Monday night.
To Nate's point, that locker room thinks they can win and can run the table, so they're going to give them as much hell as they can muster up on that Monday night.
And we're talking about these players. Sean McVay. Hey, this is your life. Let's go, genius.
Let's figure it out.
Put something together.